Hello, and welcome to another one of my videos where I sit here and talk about stuff. And today I wanted to talk about the band X, who has recently canceled their tour, which I'll get to later, and I will speculate on how come they did that. And first I'll just quickly kind of go over X. So X is considered a punk band. I kind of would say that they're more of a rock band, just a rock band. Got a strong rock and roll, rockabilly influence, especially in their early years, with the guy Billy Zoom on guitar, who later left the band. They're sort of they're definitely punkish, and they've got sort of a country thing, blues, Americana. And they've got, I think, a really unique sound because of a lot of reasons. But they have two singers, John Doe and Exene. So they have one male and one female singer. And they really work really great together. They're both really good singers. You got John doing some songs by himself, Exene doing some by herself. But they usually will both sing on the songs. And then there's a DJ Bonebreak, of course, rounding out the band on the drums. And they later had this guy named Terry Gilkison on guitar because Billy Zoom decided to leave. And Dave Alvin plays on one of their albums as well on guitar. Their first album is called Los Angeles. Came out in 1980, although the band started in 1977. And this is something that kind of bothers me that bands do. They'll be like, oh, we were just a no-name band. Nobody knew who we were. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe they were. But at the same time, look at this. Look at this here. The producer, none other than Ray Manzarek. So this is Ray Manzarek of The Doors. He was the keyboard player for The Doors. And he's producing their first album. So I'm sorry, you're not a no-name band if Ray Manzarek knows about you. Although, I'm sure they weren't, a big time band or anything, but they must have been doing something right. And you can see he actually plays on a couple of these songs. So here's the track listing. It's only 9 songs. And additional personnel: Ray Manzarek, organ on Nausea, The Unheard Music, The World's a Mess, It's in My Kiss, and Sex and Dying in High Society. So he basically plays on half the album. Plus they do a Doors cover, Soul Kitchen. They do a cool cover of that because it's kind of more of a rock and roll style rather than the Doors, more of a Doors style. So I always liked their cover of Soul Kitchen, but I just just if you're a no-name band, then you don't know Ray Manzarek and he doesn't know you. So yeah, they put out a lot of really great albums. This is kind of their main run from 1980 to 1993. They did come back together in 2020 to put out 2 more albums, and they just put out their last album in 2024, Smoke and Fiction. So they did up till See How We Are, or they did up till Ain't Love Grand. That was their last album with the guitar player Billy Zoom. And then they put out these 2, See How We Are and Jesus, with the guy Terry Gilkison, who's kind of underrated. And honestly, some of these 2 albums is some of their best stuff. And they put it out with a non-OG member, Terry Gilkison, who gets kind of swept under the rug and no one ever talks about him. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, just kind of give you a little backstory. But yeah, more recently, but still a long time ago, this after their heyday, I was looking into this, and so John Doe, the bass player and singer, he's kind of a left-wing guy. I follow him on Instagram. He talks about, not so much anymore, but he used to talk about BLM and stuff on Instagram once in a while. He mainly is just talking about music. He does a lot of solo stuff, and he was doing acoustic shows for a while. And John Doe is a pretty cool guy. He's also an actor. He's in the movie Roadhouse as one of the bad guys that tries to beat up Patrick Swayze. So yeah, John Doe, nice guy, seems. Um, Look at him smiling there. Don't really have much negative to say about John Doe. And the only reason I brought up his politics is because apparently Exene is the opposite. This is Tony Gilkison. That's their other guitar player. Not the opposite, but she's more. Oh yeah, let me actually talk about this first. This is their first. So their first album, Los Angeles. It's so funny because I heard the song Los Angeles. It's probably their most famous song. I've heard it so many times before I actually looked up the lyrics and listened to it. And holy crap, I did not know that this was happening, but I've got the lyrics right here. I mean, this game was in Tony Hawk 3, for Christ's sake. And look at this. This is in the first verse. The first verse of the song. And I'm sure you see the word I'm alluding to. But you listen to the song. I've heard the song in bars. I've heard it in, maybe not the radio, but I've heard it in multiple public places, usually bars. And I'm telling you, this song comes on, nobody notices this. But look at this here. Look at this word. It's right in the first verse, and both of them shouted at the top of their lungs, and this is their most famous song. Plus it says Jew here, which is kind of a slur as well. Just kidding. It's not, but it kind of is sometimes in context. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting because you listen to the song and it's kind of I don't always really take in the lyrics of a song, and then when I looked that up and found that out, I was like, good lord, I just was unaware. So I just wanted to show that. And okay, so here's what I want to talk about with Exene. Is X's Exene Cervenka actually insane? This guy asks. This guy from Vice magazine, Barry Thompson. Now, I wanted to show her YouTube channel so bad, and trust me, I've looked far and wide for it. I was all over the internet. I was Googling, I was Binging, I was DuckDuckGoing, I was asking Jeeves. You can't find these videos anywhere. She had a YouTube channel in like 2014 where she would talk just kind of whatever she was feeling. Usually a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff like that, which I would have loved to see. But you can look down here, and this guy's talking about her now defunct YouTube channel. And all the videos he links are they're just dead links, unfortunately. So I would have loved to see these, but it's no longer available, and I can't even find like a copy of them. I thought like maybe Dailymotion would have a copy or something, but you just can't find them anywhere. If you can find them, please send them to me. I really want to watch these. And I remember when this happened, and I was like, holy crap, because the reason she got so much flack, she's talking about some other stuff here. This is Vice, so the guy's framing it this way, but he says, Exene explains why liking black people will lead to instant death. I can almost guarantee that she did not say anything like that, but, like a guy that works for Vice thinks that you have to say that black people are 100% perfect or you're a racist. But what she got in so much trouble for was she was questioning Sandy Hook, the Sandy Hook shooting, when that guy went to the preschool or whatever and shot a bunch of little kids there. So a lot of people didn't like that about her. It was right after it happened, and the government does a lot of stuff and lies about it, so is it that crazy that she was questioning it? And then this guy says Exene can't afford a plane ticket. I find that hard to believe. I think she could probably afford a plane ticket. I mean, I can afford a plane ticket, and I don't have royalties, and this guy just goes on and on to criticize her. Exene tells us why she doesn't drink Pepsi. This guy, Barry Thompson. Hey, Barry, I don't drink Pepsi either. I didn't know that was a big issue. But Exene does think that Pepsi has baby fetal tissue in it and Monsanto something corn syrup. which apparently she said in the video. I can't verify that. Please don't pay attention to these ads, by the way. Exene hates that she came with a hobo costume she bought at the 99-cent store. Oh, she hates the hat that came with the hobo costume at a 99-cent store. Well, how good can it be if it's from a 99-cent store? Hillary Clinton has a squid on her head for some reason. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Hillary did have a squid on her head at some point. I don't know. So yeah, she was saying a lot of stuff like that, which a lot of people didn't like about her. What else we got here? Her advice for women hoping to survive the zombie apocalypse. I don't know that that's necessarily right wing. But people gave her a lot of shit for this. Call me crazy. I actually think that this is cool of her to do because it's like different. She's a weirdo. I want to see what crazy people have to say. I don't like everyone having the same boring take. I like when people are a little bit wild. So she got a lot of shit for that, and she did end up having to do like an apology, which I thought was lame. But on the bright side, it was a very disingenuous apology. So at least she has that going for her. I wish I could move this down. All right, moving on. And apparently I didn't know this, but so I was reading this blog when I was trying to find stuff about Exene and the Sandy Hook stuff. I came across this blog. It's called Crisis, a midlife music blog by a woman who goes by Jennifer. And she talks about how she was a huge X fan, and then when she found out that Exene questioned Sandy Hook and had some other views that she doesn't agree with, that she no longer wanted to listen to them anymore. And then later in 2022, she sang Happy Birthday Brandon, which I didn't know what that meant, but I guess it's an allusion to people calling Joe Biden Brandon. And this woman was very offended by that. So yeah, she doesn't listen to them anymore. And she also said that Billy Zoom, the guitar player, was a long time was associated with the right wing for a long time, which I didn't know. But then I looked it up, and I came across this website, the Daily Caller, and it's Billy Zoom right here. This long quote from him. He says, "I'm not a Republican. I am conservative," and then he goes on this long tangent here about how he doesn't support the political party, but he likes strong borders and criminals in jail and all that crap. So I didn't know that until she said this to me. So to me, it's like, and then I tried to look up DJ Bonebreak's political views, and I couldn't find anything. So I don't know. It just kind of reminded me of that Johnny Cash song, the one on the left's in the middle and all that shit. You got John Doe, liberal, and then you got Billy Zoom, the conservative, and then you got Exene, the tinfoil hat wearer. Isn't that a cool mix mash of misfits? I think it is. I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah. So back to their actual music. They put out these two albums, one in 2020, one in 24. They're both pretty good. When you're a band like that, you got a bunch of legendary stuff. You got all these years of albums put out. It's kind of hard to top that. So I do think the albums are pretty good. I probably like Smoke and Fiction better than Alphabet Land. I just thought it was. They said they went through hell, kind of recording it too. And it is their definitively last album. At least that's what they say now. But bands, they're always like, this is our last tour, this is our last album. 2 years later, they're back on tour with a new album. But I did like this one better. Anyway, in any case, they don't quite measure up to their heyday from 1980 to 93. By the way, this album, Jesus, not on Spotify. I don't know why. Not on streaming stuff. So, even though it has a lot of really good songs. Big Blue House. Another cool thing about X that I forgot to look up here. Here, we already talked about John Doe. They have a country side project called The Knitters, which I really like too. You should check The Knitters out if you're into like country music. They only have 2 albums, Poor Little Critter in the Road and The Modern Sounds of the Knitters. So yeah, they're really cool. I don't know, they really work really good as a country band too, I think. And they do perform some of these songs as X. I remember I had an X compilation album that had one of these songs at the end, and I was always like, what the fuck is this song? Like, it's not on any of their albums. And then it turns out it was one of their Knitters songs. So yeah, check out the Knitters if you haven't. And they do like a cool, like this was Silver Wings, a Merle Haggard cover. So they do some covers on here. The Call of the Wrecking Ball, that's the one that I thought was an X song forever, but it actually turned out to be this band. And they did another one too. What was it called? It might be off this album. Skin Deep Town. Yeah, that's it. Skin Deep Town. They had a live version of both those songs on their compilation album. Turns out it was Knitters songs. So yeah, this is a little bit of information about the woman that runs the blog. Yeah, I don't want to shit on her too bad, but I don't know. If X is one of your favorite bands and then you're not listening to them just because you don't like a couple of things that somebody said, that's just never been something that I personally do. Like, you know, Tom Morello would probably want me shot in the head if he found out some of the things that I believe. But I still listen to Rage Against the Machine. I think they're pretty good. Okay, so let me get to their final tour, the reason I wanted to make this video. Legendary Southern California bands X and Los Lobos abruptly cancel tour. So I had actually just got tickets for this, and I was looking forward to it. I was supposed to see this show tomorrow, actually. And I thought it was kind of cool that it was in this place. Hold on. Shoot. Sorry, I got so many things running. The computer's running slow. Let me get Google Maps up because it's way better. Yeah, I know. I have Bing as my default. I don't know why. But yeah, this place... they were playing at this place in Philadelphia called the Miller Theater, which I thought was a little surprising because I actually saw X years ago for their 40th anniversary at a place called Underground Arts, which is much more, I think, kind of their style. It's just a little rock club in Philadelphia. A lot of bands play there. I actually just saw Fu Manchu there a couple days ago. They were very good. But yeah, so they announced that they were playing at this place, the Miller Theater. And I'm going, wow, that's kind of a classy joint, kind of a weird choice for them to play there. We can see the street view here. Look at this. The street view is inside the venue for some reason. In any case, it's a weird opera house kind of place. So I thought it was cool that they were playing there because I was like, oh, this is a nice, classy joint. It's right on Broad Street in Philadelphia, which, if you don't know, is like a very, it's the ritzy part of town, you know. There's a lot of, it's the art district, you know. There's a lot of theaters there. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I looked up tickets. So originally I looked up tickets and I was like, they were like $200. And even the cheap seats were like over 100, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me for a punk band?" And I was like, you know, I can't really swing that, especially I'm getting 2 tickets, you know. I mean, I can swing it, but I was like, I don't want them that bad. So I wasn't gonna go, and then they put out this thing that was like, oh, you can actually get 2 tickets for $99, all in pricing. So I'm like, 99 for 2 tickets isn't too bad for a band. I was pretty sure it's gonna be their last tour. I don't know much about Los Lobos, but I was like, I don't know. X seems to like them, so that's cool. So 2 tickets for $99, not that bad. I got a nice seat on the balcony. I was like, that's doable. And then right after I got the tickets, pretty much like two days later, all of a sudden, oh, we have to cancel the show due to unforeseen circumstances or whatever. That's what they said. They said issue. What did they say? They said something like, it's out of our control, an issue out of our control. And I was like, what the fuck? I don't like when bands put out this vague, cryptic messaging when they cancel a tour or cancel a show. It's like, motherfucker, hello. People bought a bunch of tickets to come see you and they were excited to do it. And you're like, oh, we can't make it because private reasons. It's like, we're your fans. You can tell us the real story. It's like last year I was excited to see the band Ween. They were doing the 30th anniversary of their album Chocolate and Cheese. A couple days before their event, they cancel not only the show I was going to, but they cancel like a bunch of other shows. They canceled one like the day of or the day before. And, for me, it wasn't too big a deal because I'm just like, oh, I got my money back. Whatever. I was disappointed. But then I went on Reddit and on Instagram, and people were like, what the fuck? I was flying in from Australia. I got tickets, and, I got a Airbnb or a hotel. And I was like, damn, dude, that would suck. Imagine going to fucking Portland to see Ween, and then they cancel, and you're just like, what the fuck are you going to do in Portland? Get stabbed? Like, fuck that. So, yeah, and they just said, dude, we ask you to respect our privacy at this time. It's like, dude, tell us the exact reason you're canceling. We're owed an explanation, frankly. We made plans. We spent money. I know, we got our money back. Cool. But it's like, we spent other money in some cases to go there and see it. And same thing with X. Like, I hope nobody was flying to another city to see them or anything, because it was so short. Like, I was supposed to see them tomorrow. They canceled literally like 3 days ago or something like that. Canceled the whole tour. So here's my speculation. Like I said, last time I saw them in a nice small little rock club. This time they're playing a giant theater, an expensive theater too. This is like, they have operas here and Shakespearean plays and shit like that. And they canceled the day off. So what I think happened, they scheduled this whole tour. They're going, we're big shots. And they booked all these theaters that they shouldn't have booked. And then they had to charge really high ticket prices in order to compensate for it. That's why they did the promo thing where 2 tickets for $99. And then that's why they canceled last minute too, because they weren't selling enough tickets, even with the deal. So that's my speculation. Can't prove it, but that's what I think. So I think they should have been a little bit more realistic. Look, I love this band, okay? But they're not above criticism, and they didn't really give an explanation that was adequate, so I'm making up my own theories. Not making up, but, I'm speculating myself. I think that's what happened, and it's a shame, because I would have loved to see them again. But what are you going to do, I mean, I love X, but, like, I talk to other people about X. I bring them up, and I'm like, oh, do you like X? And people don't really know who they are a lot of times. They're not exactly, the Foo Fighters or something. So again, I'm a big fan of the band, but I think they flew a little close to the sun with this last tour idea, and it bit them in the ass. So this is the show I was at. It's on this channel called Johnny Beer Bottles. This is the 40th anniversary. So, this is the show I was at. I remember this. I wonder if you can see me in the audience. I was pretty close. This is them playing Link Ray's Rumble. This is how the show started. They sounded great. They had some minor technical difficulties in the beginning, which I blame on the venue more than them. They sounded really good. They were tight. They played a good set. One other critique I'll have about them is, you remember I mentioned Billy Zoom left the band for a while, right? And he was replaced with Tony Gilkison. They didn't play anything off those 2 albums, which I was a little disappointed about, because that's some of my favorite stuff. See How We Are and Jesus, especially See How We Are. And I'm going, okay, Billy, like, you decided to leave the band. And then you come back. And then you go, oh, I don't want to play the stuff from that I wasn't around for. Sorry, Billy, the band went on without you and put out some really great stuff without you. You should maybe learn some of those songs and play them at the concert. That's what I think. But having said that, they did play a really great set, and they put out most of their stuff with Billy, so I don't know. I get where he's coming from, but I'm still like, yo, you left the band, you know. He fucking left the band, in the words of Lars Ulbricht. So yeah, that's my take on X and their the recent cancellation of the tour, the Knitters, and again, you'll be hard pressed to find a bigger fan of this band than me, but even I gotta call them out on some of this stuff. Their cancellation of the tour, I think they shot a little too high, and that's it. So if you're not familiar with X, I suggest you listen to their entire discography. And that's probably the best you're going to do. I don't know if they're ever going to tour again. You know, these 70s, 80s bands, the members are getting up there. They're still all alive. They still look pretty healthy to me. But who knows, you know, people could go at any minute. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week.